Was Hulk Hogan really bigger than life? Was Hulk Hogan really bigger than life? I've heard so much commentary about Hulk Hogan having been bigger than life that I started to think about, was he actually bigger than life? I mean, I know people mean that as a figure of speech, but he was a huge man. He was muscled up. He was this like so-called golden god. He went through many, many iterations as a professional wrestler. He changed Hollywood. He brought professional wrestling into that form of entertainment, into Hollywood. He created an indelible character. He helped move professional wrestling into movies, etc. No doubt he changed that fake sport. Was he larger than life? Hulk Hogan took his notoriety and his fame, and by the way, his infamy, and he deserved the infamy he had. Hulk Hogan did some truly horrible things, and the man just passed, so we're not going to go through and catalog them. You can go to any Google site and look it up, or go to any AI and say, write an article about the controversies surrounding Hulk Hogan, and anybody can do that, easy enough. But I do want to start with where he was at when he died, because it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I know he gave a pretty unforgettable speech at the Republican convention.
What happened last week when they took a shot at my hero?
Full on in character.
Enough was enough.
What are you going to do?
Run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
President Trump. Hulk looks tired, man. He can't do it like he used to do it. You know, it's funny. I always wondered if he wore tearaway shirts when he was doing that professional wrestling. But no, I've actually, if you've never seen the dude when he was in his prime working out, that wasn't all just puffed up steroidery. Yeah, he was apparently a huge roider, but dude was strong. So he could tear a normal t-shirt. I think that might have been a tearaway. He had trouble with it. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Now, I know that angers some people. What do you mean? That was a great speech that riled people up. It owned the libs. It did. It was a huge act of trolling. It owned them. I remember the videos came out. Idiocracy. They knew what they were doing. They knew that they were owning the libs, but it doesn't matter. He made tons of money, Hulk. Multi-millionaire, lost some in a lawsuit, abused it, abused women with it, or through the power of it. But it was great business, but it doesn't matter. But something does matter, because Hulk Hogan found out that life is not larger than life. Hulk wasn't, and life is not larger than life, even if you are a billionaire through business. Now, you might be not a billionaire, but you might be a small, medium-sized business owner, and you might even think that you operate on corporate credit because you've got a corporate credit card or a corporate debit card. And you might think then you are given sort of a firewall between your personal assets you've sweated your whole life to have, maybe a house or two, college fund for the kids, some retirement monies. That's all safe if, God forbid, there's a lawsuit because you have corporate credit. I'm here to tell you, you probably don't. Even if your lawyer and tax accountant set up your corporation, if your Social Security number appears on any of those paperworks, your bank is probably treating you as an individual, which means you are at risk. You're also losing out on the benefits of real corporate credit. And here's an easy way to figure this out. Take a free, no-obligation consultation with Bizible. It's gobizible.com. Gobizible.com will tell you if you have actual corporate credit, and when you don't, because I bet you don't, they'll help you establish it in 7 easy steps. It's GoBizible. That's with a Z. GoBizible.com. GoBizible.com. Hulk was a billionaire. I don't know, billionaire, maybe many 100 billionaire, many times over, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. What matters is what Hulk figured out mattered. Hulk Hogan was baptized. When Hulk was baptized, he began to understand what matters. And he began to speak about what matters. This is a guy that someone said, or many people said, was larger than life. Guys, life is not larger than life. Only God and eternity are larger than life. This is Hulk again.
Well, when things were tough, I realized that this too shall pass. That this was just a temporary situation. I realized that, as long as I made the right choice, and followed my faith more than what people were saying, or what the newspapers or the tabloids were saying, and didn't get sucked into that, none of that stuff was real. The only thing that is really real is the stuff that's going to last forever. Your faith and your belief in God, and knowing that, once you're a Christian, you've accepted Christ as your Savior. You're not going to perish, but you're going to have everlasting life. That belief in itself and that faith is what's pretty much the only thing that's real to me. Everything else is kind of like a life situation, but that's my life after life after life.
Life situation. A man who maybe even at a point thought he was larger than life, realized that this life isn't even larger than life. Only God and eternity through Jesus Christ. Rest well, Hulk. Rest with Jesus.